Let's start with the vertex formula. So the vertex formula is another method like to find the maximum or minimum for the quadratic equations. So let's start knowing how it look like the vertex formula. Even with the graphing, it's easier for you to convert from the quadratic equations to vertex formula, then you can graph it. So let's start with the quadratic equations. We already know the formula for the quadratic equations is a x squared plus bx plus c. So this quadratic equations, I'm going to convert it to the vertex formula. How? The first thing, I'm going to use the a and the b. So the vertex formula, which is the first thing, because they're going to give you quadratic equations, and I have to find the vertex formula. The first thing, I'm going to use these two formulas to find the h and to find the k. How to find the h? The h is negative b over 2a. That means every time when you need to find the h, negative b, you're going to take it from the quadratic equations over 2a, the a from the quadratic equations. How to find the k? To find the k, we're going to plug in h. We're going to plug in h in the quadratic equation. So it's going to be f to the h. That means this is f of the x equal. So they're going to give you this one. To write down the vertex formula, you just have to find the h and the k. The h, by locating the a and the b, you can use this formula. The k, you're going to plug in h instead of the x. We will see that on example. So now, after I found the h and the k, I'm going to write down the vertex formula. The vertex formula, which is f to the x, is going to be equal a, which is exactly the same a number like the coefficient from the quadratic equations with the x squared, open parentheses, x, which is the variable, minus h squared plus k. That means here is the important thing, because we already found the k and we found the h. And the a is exactly the same a from the quadratic equation. So you will see in this case, we convert the quadratic equations to another formula. And this formula is the vertex formula. I can graph it because this is the number outside, and here is the number inside, like horizontal, minus h, let's mean moving to the right, plus k to move up, but it doesn't matter, it's going to be the sign of plus or minus. It depends about the equations. So this is the first thing you have to do it every time when they ask you to find the max or minimum. And also if they ask you to convert from the quadratic equations to the vertex formula. Now we have some notes about that. We already know if we need to find the x-intercept, we have to find x-intercept you're gonna let y equal 0 always. To find y-intercept, how we're gonna find the y-intercept? By let y-intercept we're gonna let x equals 0. This is just like refresh your memory, because we already took an example about how to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, exactly the same process. in case if they ask you. Here's another important thing. This is really important because they're gonna ask you, find the axis of symmetry. So I need you to write down these notes to find the axis of y. Always, it's easy because you already found the edge. You're gonna say x equal the edge. How much the edge is 5, 6. You're just gonna say x equals 6, x equal -5. We will see that when we're doing the example. And also to find the vertex point, I'm gonna show you the vertex point. You're just gonna write down h, comma, k as a point. The vertex point, this is really important, it's the maximum point or the minimum point on the graph. So if you have a graph like this, you see on this graph, the highest point here, this one is going to be the vertex. So if you have a graph and they ask you, find the vertex, you're just gonna locate the highest point on the graph because this one's going to be the vertex. The same thing if you have a graph like this. The vertex here is going to be the minimum point. This is the vertex with h and k. So the vertex point, it could be the highest point, the maximum point, or the minimum point. If you have a graph, you don't have to do these steps. Just locate the maximum point of the minimum point. If there's no graph, go ahead and do these steps to find the vertex point. So if we have f of x, this is example, f of x equal x squared minus 20x plus 105. Now we need to find the vertex point, and we're going to find the vertex formula. So now I have to locate the important thing, locate the A and the B. This is the A, the number here, this is the A, and this is the B. Be careful. Here's another note, I need you always to be careful. When you're taking the A and the B, hit with the sign. Don't forget the B here is -20, not a 20. So if you took a 20, everything is going to be wrong. So be careful here, A equal 1 and B equal -20. So now to find the vertex, I'm going to find the h. Using the formula, it says h equal -b over 2a. So it's going to be, and be careful again, there is negative sign with the formula. So in this case, it's going to be -20. So here's the negative with the formula, and here's -20, which is the b over 2 with the formula times a is 1. So now negative times negative is going to be positive. So it's going to be 20 over 2 times 1 is going to be 2. Then it's going to be 10. That's mean h equal 10. So I'm going to write down here h equal 10. This is the first thing I found, h equal 10. Now I need to find the k. The k is going to be, using the formula, it says f to the h. That's mean you're going to plug in h and f fraction, which is here, because k is going to be equal f h equal 10. That's mean I have to plug in 10 in f function, which is going to be, that means 10 is going to be instead of each x. So it's going to be 10 squared minus 20 times 10 plus 105. This one is going to be equal. 10 squared is going to be 100. Minus 20 times 10 is going to be 200 plus 105. So now combine these together. 105 is going to be 205 minus 200. So the result is going to be 5. That means k equal 5. So now this is the first two steps I have to do it. Is always when they ask me to find to convert the quadratic equations, this one to the vertex formula, or if they ask you to find the vertex point, which is you have to do the same steps and find the h and k. So now let's start writing down the vertex formula. Here is the formula. It says f of x equal a x minus h squared plus k. Now I just need to plug in the numbers. I'm done. This is going to be the vertex formula. So f to the x is going to be equal a, which is the same number. A is 1. So 1, I don't have to write down the 1. X minus h, which is the 10 squared, plus k is the 5. So this one is the vertex formula. This one is the vertex formula. Now, if they ask you to find the vertex point, you're just going to say h and k. It's going to be h is 10, k is 5. This is the vertex point. The axis of symmetry, you're just going to do exactly the same thing. H equal x equal h. So you're going to write down here x equal h. That means x equal h is 10. This is the axis of symmetry. So this is all the information you need to find. This is the vertex formula. That means I convert the quadratic equations to the vertex formula. And here's the vertex point. If they ask you, you just h and k, and the vertex point h and k is 10 and 5. And the axis of the symmetry, you can do exactly the same thing. X equal h. That means x equal 10. X, the axis of the symmetry is this one. Because they're going to ask you exactly the same thing, so you have to do exactly the same steps. We're going to do another example about the same thing. So here's another example about the vertex. We're going to do exactly the same steps. So now f of x so it doesn't matter if they're telling you f of x or y, because it's the same thing. So let's do it. Y equal 2x squared minus 4x plus 12. Because always keep in your mind, y is the same thing f of x. So if they're telling you f of x here, if they're telling you y, is the same thing. We need to find the vertex point. So now we're going to do exactly the same process. We're going to find, this is the A and here is the B. This is the A and here is the B. And don't forget the B is -4. Be careful, you're going to take everything with the sign. So now, h equal negative b over 2a. So negative for the formula, and the b is negative 4 over 2a. 2 times a is 2. That means is going to be negative times negative positive. So it's going to be 4 over 4. And it's going to be 1. That means h equal 1. This is the first thing. Now we need to find the k. K equal f to the h. So k equal f, h equal 1. So it's going to be, that's meaning we're going to plug in 1 in f function, which is this one, exactly the same thing. That's why I told you, don't confuse yourself. Y is the same thing of x. So it's going to be 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 12. So it's going to be 2 times 1 is going to be 2, because 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is going to be 2 minus 4 plus 12. So 14 minus 4 is going to be 10. So this is the h. Now we have the h, we have the, this is the k. We have the h, we have the k. Now we just have to, write down the vertex formula, which is, you can write down y, you can write down f of x, because it's the same thing. A x minus h squared plus k. So f of x is going to be, a is the same number here, so it's 2. X minus h is 1, plus k is 10. That's mean is going to be, this is the vertex, don't forget the square here. This is the vertex formula. Now to write down the vertex point, this is h and k. So it's going to be h is 1, k is 10. This is the vertex point. And the axis of the symmetry always x equal h. So x equal 1. This is the axis of symmetry. So these the important steps. Always you're going to do exactly the same thing, and keep in your mind the vertex point is going to be the highest point or the lowest point, the maximum or the minimum. So one of these, maximum or minimum. This is the vertex point. Equations. Our next example, they ask you find the coordinate this is really important also of the vertex. We need to find the coordinate of the vertex, which is they already gave you, they tell you alpha for the x equal negative 2 x minus 5 squared plus 4. This is really important. They're going to give you the vertex formula, but they're telling you find the coordinate for the vertex. That means you have to find the h and the k, because we already know the vertex is h and k. That means we need to find the h and the k. So check here what you have to do. Now, the first step, I'm going to write down the vertex formula here. The vertex formula is f of x equal a x minus h squared plus k. The vertex point is the h and the k. So I'm going to locate, here's the h and here's the h. I'm going to write down here on the side, negative h, you see, negative h equal -5. I need to find the h, not negative h. So I'm going to divide both sides by -1. So h, because negative divided by negative is going to be positive, h divided by 1 is going to be h equal -5 divided by -1 is going to be 5. So this is the h. So always do exactly the same thing. If they ask you to find the coordinates of the vertex, right down, here's the equations, they give it to you, and here's the vertex formula, -5 or negative h equal -5. Divide both sides by -1, so h equal 5. To find the k, the same thing. This is the k. On this side, just k equal 4, because we have positive k, not negative k. So we're not going to divide both sides by -1. That's mean the vertex is, the h is 5, the k is 4. That's it for this example. That's the only thing they're going to ask you. They ask you to find the vertex and you have equations. You have a graph, you don't have equations, and they ask you to find the vertex. So we have to look to the graph. This is the graph of f of x. And if they ask you find the vertex. So I told you the vertex is going to be the minimum point of the maximum point. In this graph, if you check, we have minimum points here. We have to locate the coordinate for this point. The coordinate for this point is the x is -5 and the y is -9. That's mean the minimum point is going to be the vertex. So if they ask you to find the vertex h and k from the, if you have only graph, you have to locate the minimum point. The same thing if you have another graph like this, so it's going to be the maximum point. So now this is -5 and -9. That's mean h equal -5, k equal -9. The same process, but now we have a graph. If they ask you to write down the vertex formula, we're just going to write down the vertex formula, which is f of x equal a x minus h squared plus k, because we already have the h and the k. We found it from the graph. So we're going to say f of x is going to be equal the a. How are we going to find the a? This is another thing we have to get it. So we're going to find the a. X minus h, we have the h, we have the k, but we can't put anything here, the a, until we have the y coordinate here. So we can choose any point to find how much is going to be the a. This is another thing, we're going to study that on another section. So in this case, if just they ask you find the vertex, this is the vertex. How are we going to find this vertex? By locate the minimum point, or if you have another graph like this, you're going to take the maximum point. This one is going to be the vertex point. Find the vertex. We have f of x equal -2 x minus 2 squared plus 3. So to find the vertex, you see we have equations now. So to find the vertex here, I'm just going to write down the vertex formula, which is a x minus h squared plus k. Line. Now here the important next step. Negative h equal -2 and the k equal 3. So I'm going to say here negative h equal -2 and on the other side k equal 3. Now on this side we need to find the h, so I'm going to divide both sides by -1, so I can cancel the negative sign from the left side. So the leftover is going to be h equal 2. And here h k equal 3. That's mean the vertex is h and k, which is equal, the h is 2 and the k is 3. That's it. For this example, if they ask you about find the x's of the symmetry, just gonna say x equal h. That's mean x equal 2. This is the x's of symmetry. That's it for this example. Because you're gonna get example like this one when you do the homework. So here is another example. If we have alpha for x equal 3x plus 5 minus 4. So they asked me to find the vertex. We're going to do exactly the same steps. We're going to write down the vertex formula. So alpha for the x is going to be equal a x minus h squared plus k. Now here is negative h or minus h, and here is the 5. So you see the difference between this example and the previous one? So I'm going to say negative h equal 5. I need to find the h, so I'm going to divide both sides by -1. So negative h divided by -1 is going to be h equal 5 divided by -1 is going to be -5. So now the h equal -5. On the other side, k equal -4. Be careful here, because -4 or -4, this is the value of k. So now we're going to write down the vertex. The vertex is h and k, which is equal h is -5 and k is -4. Now the x's of the symmetry, which is x equal h. So x equal, the h is -5. This is the x's of symmetry. That's it for this example. So let's see here how we're going to solve this one. They're telling you the number of mosquitoes. The number of mosquitoes m to the x, like this one is f to the x, so don't confuse yourself. In millions, that's mean million of mosquitoes. In certain area depends on June rainfall. In inches, according to the equations, this one. So here's the first thing I need to write down. The important thing, so I'm just going to write down m to the x equal 16x squared minus, 16x minus x squared. You see, this is the first thing I'm going to write down. they're telling you what rainfall produce the maximum. This is the second thing. They're telling you when you hear the word maximum, minimum, that means they're telling you go ahead, use the vertex formula. So they're telling you what rainfall produce the maximum number of mosquitoes. That means we need to find the H. But be careful here. We already know the quadratic equations always like this, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. That means a always with the x squared. So I need to rewrite this one again. M of x equal negative x squared plus 16x. So now we're just going to find the h. This is the a, this is the b. So h is going to be negative b over 2a, which is mean negative b is 16 over 2 times a is negative 1. So it's going to be negative 16 over negative 2, because 2 times negative 1 is going to be negative 2, and the result is going to be 8 inches. So that means we will get maximum number of mosquitoes if it's the rainfall is 8 inches. That's the solution for this example. So this is really important. So always when you see, they give you the equations here and they ask you to find the maximum, minimum, the same word. The first thing you will notice, I'm going to use the vertex formula. In this example, we need to find the maximum number of mosquitoes because our equations is x and m. That means this is the number of mosquitoes here, which is exactly like the h. And the maximum number of mosquitoes here, that means this one is going to be the inches or the rainfall. How much is going to be the rainfall here? How many inches for the rain to get the maximum number of mosquitoes? That's why we need just to find the maximum number, the rainfall, how many inches with the rainfall to get the maximum number of mosquitoes. Another example, let's do this one. So here is another example. If you throw an object, if an object is propelled upward from a height of 96 feet with an initial velocity of 80 feet per second, then its height after t seconds, check here, then its height after t seconds is given by the equations. So this is the first thing I'm going to write down. H of t equal negative 16 t squared plus 80t plus 96. So this is the first thing. They ask you now where the height is in feet. After how many seconds? Because now it's with second and to get the height. The second and the height. So they ask you after how many seconds so you're not going to confuse between this edge. I'm going to add down the height. That means second and height. Second and height. After how many seconds does the ball reach its maximum height? So the first thing, they ask you to find the maximum height. But the maximum height after how many seconds? That means we need to find the time, which is the h. Because you see the h here, that means we need to find the time. So I'm just going to go and use the vertex formula. The vertex formula, I'm going to locate, this is the A and this is the B. That means h is going to be negative b over 2a. So it's going to be negative b is 80 over 2 times a, which is negative 16. So it's going to be negative 80 over negative 32, because 2 times 16 is going to be negative 32. Divide these two numbers, is going to be 2.5 seconds. That means they ask you, after how many seconds does the ball reach its maximum height? So how many seconds? In 2.5 seconds, the ball reached the maximum height. Now they ask you, what is the maximum height? That means you're going to find the k. So k equal f to the h, which is equal f, the h is 2.5, which is the time. So we're going to plug in 2.5 here instead of each t. So it's going to be negative 16 times 2.5 squared plus 80 times 2.5 plus 96. Go ahead, plug in everything in the calculator to find how much is going to be the result. I think I already did this one. No. So I'm going to use the calculator, negative 16 times 2.5, close the parentheses, squared, plus 80 times 2.5, close the parentheses, plus 96. So it's going to be 196. That's mean the height, which is the k, is 196. So after how many seconds? They say in 2.5 seconds, the ball reached the maximum height, which is 196. That means if you want to graph it, you're going to throw the ball, in fact, like the opposite thing, because upward. So let's say, let's do a similar graph. You're going to throw the ball like this. So here, the ball is going down. Here at this point, in 2.5 seconds, the height here is going to be 196, which is the maximum height. From this point to the ground is going to be the maximum height. Now, with this example, it says Bob owns a repair shop. He found that the cost of operating his shop is given by the equations. So you see, this is the important thing. I'm going to write down C of x, which is the cost function. How to find the cost of operating his shop is given by 4x squared minus 368x plus 53. Now, where C is the cost, it's telling you C is the cost. That means here's the C and here's the X. And X is the number of watches repaired. This is the number of watches and this is the cost. Here's the equations. How many watches? This is the number. How many watches must be repaired to have the lowest cost? How many watches? That means how many more watches we need to repair to get the minimum, the lowest cost or the minimum cost. So we need to find the H. This is the A and this is the B. So the H is going to be equal negative B over 2A, and it's going to be negative. B is negative 368. Be careful, the important thing here, I know it's like a little bit easy, just be careful with the sign. Over 2 times A, which is 4. So it's going to be 3, 6, 8, because negative times negative is positive, over 8. Let's check how much it's going to be. It's going to be around 46. Let's see. 3, 6, 8 divided by 8. It's going to be 46. That means how many watches? That means he need to repair. He need to repair how many watches? He need to repair 46 watches to get the lowest cost. Now, there's another part they ask you, what is the lowest cost? That means they ask you to find the K. K is going to be F to the H, which is going to be F, the H is 4, 6. That means you're going to plug in 46 here. So there'll be 4 times 4, 6 squared minus 3, 6, 8 times 4, 6 plus 5, 3. Let's check how much it's going to be. Use the calculator, so I'm not going to get the wrong answer. Here. So 4 times 4, 6 squared. Here's 4. Parentheses. 4, 6, close the parentheses, square. Minus 3, 6, 8 times 4, 6, close the parentheses, plus 5, 3. The result, there's something wrong. So I did a little bit change here with this number and here, because when you plug in this one now, you get 247, which is positive number. That means this is the minimum cost, the lowest cost. If he repaired 46 watches, it's cost him 247. That's why he needs to repair more, so you're gonna get the profit about. If you repair 46, this one's going to be the cost 247. That means this is the K.